Hi, students. Now, in today's lesson, we're going to be looking at how to find percentages of quantities. Before we do some examples, I just want to point out this fact that the word percent means per 100, or per means for every. All right, so it's saying for every 100 or out of 100. Just as the word cent, like centurion or century, is 100, means out of 100. Percent means out of 100 or per 100. All right, that's a little vocab lesson for you. Alrighty. To find the percentage of a number, we just take 3 simple steps. The first step is to write the percentage as a fraction. The second step is to multiply the fraction by the number you're finding the percentage of. And the third step is to simplify. All right, now let's move on to an example. Let's look on the purple square to your right. It says find 15% of 200. Let's follow our steps. We're going to write the percentage as a fraction. Now let's remember, percent means out of 100. So if it is 15%, how do we write that as a fraction? We take our 15 and write it out of 100. Very good. So we just represented it as a fraction. Step 2 said that we should multiply the fraction. So we go to write our multiplication side. That's the fraction, and we write our multiplication side. Multiply the fraction by the number we are finding the percentage of. What are we finding the percentage of? 200. Very good. When we're working out percentages, it's best that we write 2 fractions, all right, on either side of the multiplication sign. So how can we write 200 as a fraction? By simply putting it as a denominator of 1. Remember, any number that has a denominator of 1 is itself. So 15 over 1 is the same thing as 15. 29 over 1 is the same thing as 29. We're just expressing it as a fraction so that it looks better, so that we can work with it better when we're simplifying. All right, that's the only reason. All right. Step 3 is to simplify. When we're simplifying these fractions, we are going to find a number that can divide into both the numerator and denominator at the same time. All right. When we say numerator, remember we mean the top numbers. So in this question, we have 2 numerators, 15 and 200. So these are the numerators. And the denominator is the opposite of that. The denominator is the bottom number. So to simplify, we're going to find a number that can divide into both the numerator and denominator at the same time without leaving a remainder. Very good. Now, when we're working with percentages, once the numerator and denominator ends with 0, we can use 10 to divide into both of them. All right? We can use 10. So let us look for the numerators and denominators with zeros at the end, which is 200. This is one of the numerators, and this is the denominator, 100. So once both the numerator and denominator ends with 0, we can use 10 to divide into both of them, all right? So when we're dividing by 10, we can just cancel the zeros at the end. So 10 into 100 goes 10 times. 10 into 200, cross out that 0, goes 20 times. Very good. Can we still divide by 10? Of course, the numbers end in 0 still. So let's go back again. 10 into 10 goes 1 times. 10 into this 20 now, cross off that 0, leaves 2. Very good. Now that we've simplified, we've crossed off the zeros, we've made the numbers smaller. What's left? We have our 15 left. We have our multiplication sign and we have our 2 left. So let's rewrite that problem. It looks a bit messy up there, so let us write the problem in the new line. So we're going to write our 15 and we're going to multiply that by the 2. That's what we have left after we've simplified. So we write our 2 here. And in the denominator, we have 1. Okay, we have 1 as a denominator here. So we can write back our denominators. And we're going to write it back as 1. So our 15, right, our 15, I'm sorry, I had a little bit of a glitch there, times 2. All right. And since we have 1 as a denominator, we don't need to write back our denominators of 1, because remember, once the denominator is 1, if we write anything over 1, it will just be the number itself. So even if we write 15 over 1, it will still be 15. And if we write 2 over 1, it will still be 2. So we do not need to write it over 1. All right? In this example. So let us just multiply what's left. 15 times 2 gives us 30. And that's it. 15% of 200 gives us 30. Let's do a couple more examples. In the yellow square, the question says, find 20% of 985. Let's remember the steps below. 1, we're going to write the percentage as a fraction. So 20%, we write our 20 out of 100 because percent means out of 100. And step 2, multiply the fraction by the number that we want to find the percentage of. That number is 985. Then the first step, we check to see if we can divide through by 10. Once the numerator and denominator ends with 0, we can divide through by 10. Do they end with 0? Yes. This numerator does not end with 0, but the 20 does. This one does. So we can divide both the 20 and the 100 by 10. So let's go. 10 into 20 gives 2. So we have 2 left. 10 into 10 into 100, sorry, gives us 10. Is there anything else that we can use to divide? Can we divide again by 10? No, because we don't have both the numerator and denominator ending with zeros. Can we think of anything else that we can use to further simplify the fraction? Can we think of anything else to further simplify the fraction? Yeah, 2. Let's use 2. Let me use a different color. 2 can go into itself. Remember, we defined a number that can go into both the numerator and the denominator at the same time. So 2 can go into itself 1 times. 2 can go into 10 5 times. Awesome. Is there anything else that can be simplified? Is there anything else that can be simplified? Of course, there's something else that can be simplified. We can use 5. We can use 5. All right. So we can say 5 into itself goes 1 times. 5 into 985. Oh, that seems like a very big number. It seems like a very big number. Let's just break it up into parts. All right. And no, you cannot just cross off the 5 at the end and say 98. It does not work the same as if you're using 0. So you cannot just cross off the 5 like that. No, 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 no. That would be incorrect. So you just write 5 into all the numbers individually. So 5 into 9 goes 1 time with a remainder of how much? 5 into 9, 1. Remainder of how much? After you take 5 out of 9, what do you have left? 4. So we carry over the 4. So now this becomes 48. 5 into 48. What's the biggest number that 5 can go into? What's the biggest number to 48? 45. 5 into 48 goes 9 times. Remainder how much? 3, because 5 times 9 is 45, so that gives a remainder of 3. Sorry.